Hello, welcome to what do we call this? America's office hours? You're technically America's, right, Sabri?
Yeah, that's right. I'm also America's.
America's. So my name is Joyce. I'm in developer relations. Sabri, you want to go introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Sabri. I'm a product support engineer. Happy to meet everyone. I'm here in Canada.
Yeah, so I'm based in San Francisco and you're based in Montreal.
In Montreal, Canada. That's right.
And I just learned not a few minutes ago that you live above a poutine restaurant.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the most Canadian thing possible. I live on top of a poutine
My
restaurant.
understanding of poutine is that poutine is like Canadian nachos, but with French fries. Is that correct?
I would say yes, it's equally as important. Like to Canadians, this is the main dish. Um, we have the cheese curds and the gravy, so yeah, it's basically the same, I would say, as nachos.
So it probably smells amazing in your apartment right there. You have a beautiful house. You live in Montreal, so you live in a mansion. And this is your first Postman live stream, right?
It is, yeah. It's actually my first live stream
All
altogether, so
together.
I'm super excited, looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, welcome to folks on the live stream. If you have any questions, this is our monthly office hours. So we typically just host this time for questions that you have. If you have questions, you should log in to Twitch, to YouTube, potentially, and Periscope, like whatever you're watching from, make sure you log in and ask your questions in the chat. And this time is really for you. So if you have questions, go ahead and plop them in there. It's first come, first serve. Otherwise, I have a couple topics that we have. I'll show you a little bit of what's new in Postman. But if you have questions about specific workflows or features, or you can't quite wrap your head around something, go ahead and log in and ask your question in the chat. Let's see. We can talk about Sabri. You used to work at Travis CI,
That's right. Yeah, I used to work at Travis CI for just over a year, so
and for folks who
I'm
don't know
I'm a bit
what
familiar.
Travis is, what is it?
So Travis is just like, for example, you have the likes of GitLab, GitHub Actions just recently. It's a CI/CD platform that allows users to create builds. So they run builds to be able to automate the process from testing the code, deploying the code. They started off as an open source tool and are still open source. But yeah, it's just like GitHub Actions if you're familiar with it.
Yeah, and I think it might have changed since I looked at it last, but I believe Travis CI, you can run your CI tests for free so long as it's a, like a public repo. Is that correct?
I think that's still the case. I know they've undergone a few changes. I think I just got an email about like some of the changes that they've gone through, but I do believe that's still the case. As long as your repo is public, you can actually run the builds as well.
Okay.
So you're just limited because they work like you can run up to 5 builds at a time. I think if that's it, it's in terms of concurrency that they consider those the jobs you run.
So we have our friend Paul calling in. It sounds like we're doing a radio show. Paul's chiming in from YouTube and wants to know how you keep your Postman tests clean and reduce duplication. Anything new that's been added to help with this? Paul, really asking the tough questions, and we're not even in this live stream a few minutes. I don't know. Do you have? So Paul is one of our community champions and is really pushing our engineering team to, you know, enhance the way tests are run, the way you write as a tester, how you write tests, so that you don't have to keep what's wet mean? Write every time, so that you don't have to write wet code. I'm not sure. I do have. So what's on the table right now? Viable clan member? I don't know. Post dog? Oh gosh, now we're getting sorry, there's so many comments coming in. Somebody from Periscope, Franz is saying, "Why did you archive my collections when I added a new one from your official source?" That's probably a question you get a lot in support, right, Sabri?
Yeah, we get a few of these archive my collection. Let me actually see. Maybe we can.
Here, let's go straight to screen sharing. Let Should I share my screen, Sabri?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so theoretically, you see my screen, and let me just update your face a little bit. So we have a lot on the table. This is your office hours, yours to do with it what you want. We can go over some new features that have just released within the last week or so. We can talk about best practices for keeping your tests dry. Off the top of my head, Paul, I don't have anything that's in mind. I hope Paul doesn't just chime in every month just asking the same question. I don't have anything in mind that is fundamentally different with how tests are written or run right now. And then we also have a question about archiving your collections, which has to do with if you're on one of the free plans, like you're just free team. Is it free team or free plan? Free team. If you're on a free team, there is a limit with like X number of requests that you can share for free on the free plan before Postman will archive your collections. Is that correct, Sabri?
That's correct, exactly. Yeah. So I think it's up to 25 shared requests, and then it gets archived. But they are retrievable; they're not lost, so we can help with that.
Yeah, so Franz, if you want to clarify your question on the why did you archive my collections? Why did you, Sabri, archive his collections? Or if you want
Sorry.
to find how to retrieve them or how to get around that. But let me go ahead and start. Go ahead and ask your questions in the chat. I'm going to start with a couple new things that you might have missed that released probably within the last week or week and a half. So go ahead and hopefully you see my screen and you see Postman up here. Something that released recently is being able to watch APIs. So normally we putz around here on the collections tab, but if you hop on over here to APIs, here's the discourse API in Open API JSON format. And here's all the stuff that you would do with an API specification. But this little doohickey here is new, so you can actually watch it. So similar to how you would watch a GitHub repository or watch a GitHub issue or subscribe to those notifications. Now stuff that changes within this API you can be notified about. So being able to watch APIs is new. What's the other thing? Oh yeah. And also pull requests. Pull requests there's now settings. Oh, so let me just make sure. Can I install a self-hosted version of Postman on my server? So Postman is oh gosh, so many. Sabri is Lachiffer.
That's me.
You're Lachiffer 10, so.
Yeah, I just posted a help guide for recovering the archived collections.
Got it.
It helps the user.
So regarding can I install a self-hosted version of Postman on my server? Postman is a packaged app. There is some component of it that runs on the web, but it's an Electron-based app, and you can run, if you're not logged in, you're running locally. If you want it to be, if you want to persist your data beyond the current session or beyond your local machine, you need to, the data backup syncs with Postman Cloud. All right, am I missing some questions? They're coming in fast and furious.
I don't think.
Watching for remote API changes is cool. Does it support SOAP and WSDL? Wow, viable clan member. Uncertain about your username, but good questions coming from you. So Postman does support SOAP that runs over HTTP. If I'm not mistaken, WSDL import is not supported. So they're asking about does Postman support SOAP plus WSDL? So if you go ahead and pull in, all I did was go to this top area and import. There's a lot of file formats that Postman works well with on an ad hoc import or like programmatically importing some data formats. And WSDL is not currently supported. Actually, Sabri, I bet you spend a lot of time in our GitHub issues, but I believe that is one of the requests. But I mean, we're not seeing a ton of companies investing heavily in SOAP and WSDL formats. So I'm guessing that our engineering team probably isn't really hot on that trail. Yeah, mostly legacy support. So that's why go ahead and Sabri, if you have a link to that GitHub issues, or maybe not the precise issue unless you can find it, go ahead and drop a link in the chat so that people can weigh in on your specific use case or even just upvote, because our product managers look at that.
Yeah, sure. I think I found the actual request, but if it isn't, then it's still the same within that repo.
Yeah. So Lechifer, aka Sabri.
The shift
Oh, Lechifer.
for me.
Am I pronouncing it wrong?
No, it's perfect.
Lechifer just posted a link to that issue. Oh gosh, viable clan member. Does GraphQL monitoring use introspection? So somebody from Postman chime in. Arlemy is telling me how to pronounce your username. Sorry. Chime in. Introspection is actually something that is on our roadmap. So, oh gosh, Sabri, I didn't invite you here so that you can just look up issues and post them here. Let me show everyone where Sabri's going. So if I go to issues and I go to, I have Postman Labs, Postman organization. Under Postman app support, we have 1.6 thousand issues, but don't be intimidated. If I go to introspection, let's see how good my search skills are. So send feature request send auth header when fetching GraphQL schema. Allow importing of GraphQL schemas using a URL. Now, I'm not a GraphQL expert, but I'm pretty sure this one is the introspection one. So I'm going to open it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and plop this in the chat. So go ahead and weigh in with your introspection request. We didn't even talk about like GraphQL and how that works. So lots of stuff we can talk about, or just keep peppering your questions fast and furious. And as a reminder, if you joined us late, Sabri, aka Lechifer, used to work at Travis CI. We scooped him up, so now he works at Postman. But we can also build, so look at this. I have this blog post. Actually, it's in the docs now. But when I first started at Postman, this was one of my first projects, integrating Postman tests with Travis CI using Newman, our open source command line runner. So I wrote this, and so we could go through that flow. It'll be new to me because my brain doesn't keep anything beyond a couple days. A couple days is a stretch. So what do you want to do? So the options are open to you, Sabri, and also to the chat. Viable clan member says you have a CLI. Viable clan member, I hate saying your username, but yes, that might be something to look at. What do you think, Sabri? What do you want to do?
I think there's some interest, so might as well go through that. We can play around a little bit with that.
Okay, so if we look at the CLI, then I'm automatically going to go to Newman. Let's see. Let me take away that deep link. Okay, so this is Newman. Oh, look, Hannah Neal already posted the Newman repository there. So this is what all the hubbub is about. Newman CLI companion for Postman. Let's see. Actually, Sabri, do you think I have Newman installed on my machine? Let's see.
You can try run Newman v dash
yeah. V. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Perfect.
So to install Newman, I believe there should be a section here for installing Newman, but you can go ahead and npm install globally Newman, or if you're on Mac using Homebrew, you can go ahead and brew install Newman. So I've already done that. We just saw that I'm on v5. And then once you have Newman, the syntax is pretty easy. So I'm in this demo repo called Sparkles. Actually, should I go ahead and put a collection JSON? Let's write some tests and let's run the tests.
Yeah, maybe you can just dump a JSON in there, and we can do both. Either try just run Newman run first.
Okay.
And locally, and then we can also do it via try to do it on Travis as well,
Okay,
if you want.
so in this current repo, I have nothing. So what do you want to do? Run it. Look.
I think yeah, let's run it locally first. You would like you put a collection.json in your repo, and then we can do Newman run. Do you want to try that
Okay,
first?
let's go ahead, and I have a collection here. This is called Postman Echo, but if y'all want to follow along at home, you can go ahead and hit that orange new button, and I think it's under templates. But if you type in Echo, you can pull in your version of this collection here. I've already done that, so I'm going to X out of here. And to export the JSON, I'm clicking the three dots, and I'm going to export the collection as the latest recommended version v2.1. Okay, where should I put this? Do you remember where Sparkles was? I don't know why I expect people to remember.
I don't remember exactly where you created the
Oh, I think
repo,
it's in
but
my. Do you see
oh, it's
Sparkles?
Sparkles. I
Okay.
see it there. Yeah, right under searches. There you go.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and export this JSON representation of the collection. So now if I go to my local directory or my project directory, I do see Postman. Hannah Neal wants to take a detour to my music folder, and I literally didn't know there was a music folder. This is a very empty computer. So if I go ahead and Newman run and I just tab completed, there's only one file in my directory with Postman. So I tab completed, and now it's running that local JSON file. Oh gosh, is that a sensitivity? Home folder on stream is Brave. Like, I don't even know what y'all saw. Let me go ahead and hit enter. Is that all I have to do, Sabri?
I think. Do you have any environments or anything that environment variables that you created, or
I don't, but we can go ahead and run an environment.
let's see,
So,
or just try running it and see if it.
okay, let's try. So right now I don't have an environment. It's just a standalone collection, and I just hit enter. And I see this CLI output. Postman is running all the requests, as well as the check marks are, the check marks are the tests. So let's see. It looks like here's a little summary at the end of that output. 90 assertions were made and 7 assertions failed. So I can go back through my CLI results. It's very similar to running it inside the Postman app using the collection runner if you're familiar with that. But otherwise, I can scan through the CLI output and go fix those tests if I did not expect them to fail. So that's just Newman in a nutshell, super easy. And let me go ahead and replay that command again. We did Newman run JSON file, but Sabri, you were saying there's another way to run it.
Oh, we could either use the API, but I was mainly interested in if, for example, you created any environment variables, we could also kind of import that in as well with -e, and then with the environment JSON.
Yeah, so if I had an environment JSON, it would be -e env.json
Yeah.
file or something like that. Okay, so don't have spaces in a file name by default. That is very true. Like, I was doing a demo once and there was a space or instead of an underscore or something, and I didn't know the syntax. Like, you have to put double quotes around it or something. I didn't know the syntax, and it was very embarrassing. I didn't know how to type it and like escape characters and stuff like that. Arlemi's saying we use a new laptop for every stream to make sure we're not disclosing anything we shouldn't. Arlemi is correct. So we're just rolling in cash over here at Postman, and just, this is my burner for the week. Okay, so we use Newman. There's a bunch of stuff we can do here. So people in the chat, let us know what you're curious about. We can explore the world of Travis CI only because Sabri is from Travis CI, and I heard you're quite the expert. We can share other new things that have launched in Postman. So chat, tell us where to go. It's kind of like Twitch plays Postman, except through chat questions. I'll just sit here and sip my coffee. Oh, I'm curious to know where the HTTP requests originate from. The local machine, from the CLI, or from the Postman app. So Viable Clan member is asking, when I ran it in Newman, where is the request coming from? That's actually a really good question. I hate it when people say that's a good question as if they expected like terrible questions. But
Yeah.
yes, this is running from my local machine. If I was running in Postman, we didn't look at it yet, but if I ran the Postman version, so here's Postman Echo, if I go to run, this is also running from my local machine. So whatever the endpoints are, they have to be able to be hit by what's running it, which is my local machine. So if you're behind a virtual private network or something, like you'll need to like allow my traffic to hit it. But if we do it with part of our continuous integration pipeline, it's going to be run from that continuous integration environment. So do you want to try that? Wait, Hannah Neal has something. Question, what type of coffee are you drinking? The bag was brown, whole bean, ceramic burr grinder. I don't know. I don't know. But Hannah Neal is interested about new Postman features. So we just took a look at API watching, being able to watch an API for changes, as well as, oh my gosh, I started talking about pull request settings and we never actually showed it. So now, oh my gosh, this is choose your own adventure. Sabri, what do you want to do? I'll leave it up to you. Viable Clan member, thanks for joining us. He's got to go, but the CI/CD sounds good too. So we can either look at Travis CI, setting up some automation. That's actually pretty easy to do. I'm not sure there's many ways to do it. Or we can look at some newer stuff in Postman, PR settings. What do you want to do, Sabri?
I think what we could do is start off with the new features, and then if we have a bit of time, we can dive in and play around with some Travis.
You're so
Some Travis, if
organized.
you like.
Okay, so
Sometime.
we already looked at API watching. The other thing that's kind of new within the last week or so is PR settings. And if you go to, so we're working off of Postman Echo. And if you go to the three dots, there's all these options to do things. But in order to create a pull request, it's grayed out. I can't do it. What do I need to create a pull request?
Do you want me to answer, or should we wait?
Oh, it'll take a while for people to chime in. Oh, okay. Well, actually, Postman's trying to tell me. That's helpful. The tooltip is trying to tell me. So I tried to create a pull request. It's grayed out because this collection is not a fork. So let's go ahead and create a fork. Let's call it Sabri's greatest fork. So we're forking this main collection called Postman Echo. And now we have this fork down here called Sabri's greatest. Let me start it and bring it to the top as well. And now if we want to make a change, let's go ahead and pass in, instead of foo1 bar 1, foo2 bar 2. What's your dog's name again?
Dolores,
How do you
the
spell
bat dog.
How do you spell Dolores?
DOLORES.
Okay, so your cute dog that looks like a bat, and then the other dog that you might be getting, what will that name be?
Teddy.
Teddy.
And just before the internet doesn't scorch me, I didn't say bad dog. I said bat, BAT,
Bat
right?
dog.
Just there's
Bat
no
dog.
such thing as a bad dog.
Something else that's kind of new that y'all might not have seen, but I just saw it and it reminded me. But do you see this little set is variable? Did you know that was there, Sabri? That's brand new.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know that. That's so. Anna asked, "What are your favorite features?" I think that's gonna be my favorite. That's amazing.
It's not my favorite feature yet because I don't know how to use it well, but a lot of people are like, so if I want to create this as an environment variable, I either need to programmatically set it using JavaScript in these areas, or I need to go here and then edit and then create Dolores? Or I'll say like bat dog and then give it a value of Dolores or something, right?
Yeah.
That's how you could create it, but this little thing is like I highlight it or something, and then I can go ahead and set it as a variable. And if it's an existing variable, I can select it, or I can set a new variable with that value. So set, I forgot what we called it. What set as new variable is a new feature. So this kind of crept up on us. If you have any feedback about it or any of the features, let us know.
Oh, that's pretty cool. We can
Yeah.
actually choose the scope too. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So you can, a lot of people don't know about collection variables because it's kind of hidden in the UI. But you have global, environment, and collection. So the global, you can see here in the eyeball, globals. You can clearly see I have a lot of very serious variables here. And then you have the current environment variables as well. In collection variables, do you know where it is? This is a quiz.
Or
Do you know where the collection variables is? It's pretty hidden.
I know where it is.
Where is it?
You have to hit on the ellipsis of the collection,
I like
right?
how you
Or
use
is
the
it?
official word for ellipsis instead of the three dots. Okay.
And then edit.
Edit.
There's probably a faster way of doing this, but
Variables. Chala.
and then variables.
Yeah, so it's
There
one,
you go.
two, three clicks to get there. And so a lot of people don't know about collection variables. And a lot of people ask me, like, when do you use a collection variable versus an environment variable? What do you tell people? I know you get that question all the time. What do you tell people?
Um, I guess it depends on the scope and what you're trying to accomplish because like it did take 3 clicks, but you can also do it programmatically, right? Like if you do pre-request or the script, you can actually set them that way. So I think for me, it's more a question of what I'm trying to accomplish with the collection that I'm creating. See, so we also have the autocomplete. That is awesome.
I was just seeing, because I didn't know the syntax. I would have said pm.variables.set to set a local variable, but I forgot what the collection variable syntax was.
That's
That's
perfect.
nice. That's really nice. Just
I think
marveling, marveling at the
ma-
autocomplete.
for my own personal experience, if I want to just um, keep the variables that I'm creating for that particular collection, then I'll create as a collection variable. If I'm using it as an environment and I may have to reuse that environment for something else. Maybe I'll use an environment. There's a lot of different ways to tackle that, but that's at least the way I look at it.
So
Does that make sense?
how deeply coupled the variable is with either the collection or it needs to be used across other collections? That makes sense.
Yeah.
I totally forgot what we were doing. If anybody has
Showing
questions
the
in the
features.
chat, if anybody has questions in the chat, please go ahead and ask your questions. Hannah Neal did ask what our favorite features were, and Arlemy asked, "What do I get if I guess correctly?" I'm curious to know what Arlemy thinks our favorite features are. Do you have a favorite feature, Sabri?
Well, I mean, the one you showed about setting a variable is really cool. I think especially being able to create the scope. I think the reason why is because it may also help users get a better understanding of like how scope works or the possibility of having different scopes. I think a lot of users still aren't necessarily aware of that. And so I think it's a really great tool to be able to kind of say, oh, look, you can actually create different scopes and then dive deeper into that. So I think that's awesome, personally.
I just
I mean, there's
I have a favorite. I have like two favorite features, but my favorites change. They're kind of like children or dogs. I don't have kids, but they're kind of like dogs where it's like your favorite might change after a while. But Arlemy, guess what my favorite feature is? I'll tell you one thing. There's two favorite features I have, and they both begin with C. Sabri, do you know what it is? Ah, Arlemy, guess code gen. Hannah's
code
saying when you say
generation.
you don't have favorites but secretly do. Yes. CodeGen is one of them. So,
You want
CodeGen.
to show that?
Yeah.
Maybe just like
So you're here in Postman and you're like bloop bloop bloop, tinkering around. Let me update these parameters. Bloop bloop bloop. Send, receive, like inspect. Okay, this is working. Now I want this front end code, this API call. Let's go to this mysterious code link. Arlemy knows me too well. I was thinking you might guess cookies because cookies is here and it also starts with C. But if you click on code, you can go ahead and select. Do you have a favorite programming language or front end framework?
Not necessarily, but I mean, all these possibilities are pretty cool.
I like Node
jQuery, that's
request. Did somebody just say jQuery?
I know what I said it.
You heard it here. I'm taking an audio clip. So if you're Sabri and you live in Montreal, then you really love jQuery. So you can go ahead and copy this to your clipboard, and this is representative of the Postman request that you were doing from Postman, but now you can drop it into your app code. So yes, Arlemy knows me too well. CodeGen is one of my favorite features, only because when I tell people about it, they're just like their faces just light up and people are really happy. And then the Arlemy's making fun of you now. If
I
you're
still
in
believe in jQuery.
2011 and really love jQuery, and the other,
Actually,
yeah,
sorry, Joyce, just a quick thing. The one that I think is really cool is also for curl requests, because sometimes you know how we'll have users that write in and they have an issue that may not necessarily be Postman specific, and one good way to kind of troubleshoot is to try to recreate that issue outside of the Postman environment. So, for example, a quick way is to use code generation to generate a curl request and then try and run that curl request from your terminal. And then you can see, get a better idea like, oh, is this something that was an issue with Postman or outside of Postman as well?
a
So
lot
I
of
would
the
just,
questions that we get are people think Postman's broken when, like, say you are calling a local host and you're not getting any response because nothing's running on localhost. You're like, is that Postman or is it like my server? That's a great tip. So you can use the code gen for the curl here. And then also, if somebody sends you a curl request, you can import curl as raw text and just like
yeah.
plop it in here, and then it'll just transform into Postman so you can push the button. So I actually really like curl. I find it a little hard to work with, but I like it because you always know exactly what you're sending and receiving. Or yeah.
Yeah.
So console code starts with C. That is Joyce's favorite feature. 1 and 2, tied with 1 and 2, and also tied with 1 and 2 that also starts with C is the console. So if I open this up, you can see all your network calls. See, and you're like, oh, what did Postman send? And you'll see like extra slashes in there. You'll see your headers are off, like whatever, and you can dig down into the response that comes back. You could put your log statements, or what are other console statements? Warn statement.
I've seen one where, for example, the request was redirected and they weren't aware.
Yeah.
It helps. Like if you put in a request but it was redirected, it will also show on the console. I've
Yeah,
seen that. It was really helpful.
you'll see it slightly grayed out, like a little bit
Yep.
slightly different syntax. You'll see that. If you send an asynchronous request through the pre-request or tests tabs, you'll see that as well. So like all the network calls that are being made, it's kind of like Chrome DevTools, is it the network tab? The network tab plus the
Yeah,
console
exactly.
tab all in one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the best way of like summarizing it.
Yeah. All right, so that's my favorites.
Now we have to say what Arlemy gets for guessing correctly.
I feel
A
like,
laptop, another laptop, a
yeah, I
cookie.
know.
A
Another
cookie.
burner
There you
laptop.
go.
Arlemy, I'm curious what your favorite. So Arlemy is on the Postman team as well. Also, he had a live stream this morning with Francis for the EMEA APAC region office hours. So Arlemy, what is your favorite feature if you had to pick just one? Sabri, yours was a cop out because we literally just saw it on the page right there.
Hey, on the spot, I have to think quickly, you know? There's a lot of features I like. I would say code generation as well is really cool. The console, I think I haven't put much depth into, oh, a favorite feature, but I think
Yeah.
it's incredibly helpful. That's for sure.
So you answer a lot of support questions, like escalated kind of like deep diving questions. What would you say? We had Chris on. Arlemmy's giving us cruft. The Travis CI integration. Do we want to get started on that? What do we want to do? Sabri.
You decide. I mean, we can. I think we could jump into it if you want.
Okay, we
I think
never
you've already
submitted a pull
created.
request. All I
Did you create a
wanted,
fork?
I did. I created a fork.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're jumping back and forth. Apologies here. So we created a fork from Postman Echo called Sabri's Greatest Fork, the name of the fork. We made some changes. Did we make some changes?
Yeah, bar one. I think it was bar one and bar two, right? And then
Okay.
we put.
So let's save it. We have this orange dot at the top, which means we have unsaved changes. So I went ahead and Command or Controlled S to save it. And now I want to merge those changes into the main collection. Now I don't have this grayed out. I can go ahead and create a pull request. I've opened up my browser. This wheel is working hard. And I want to merge Sabri's Greatest Fork into the destination of the main echo. So you have to give it a name, give it a description, and you can select Arlemy to review it and make sure like you're okay with that, and then create your pull request. And then just like a pull request in your GitHub or something like that, you can manage any conflicts and choose to accept. And you can like take a look at the diffs, what has changed. Gosh, your memory's better than mine, Sabri. Yes, we changed bar 1 and bar 2 to Dolores and Teddy. And we can go ahead and submit that pull request. Okay. Sabri, what next?
Do you want to jump into the Travis?
Sure.
Well, we can play around. Yeah.
Sure. So what do we need to do for... I created an account. I'm logged in here. And I've previously set up a bunch of... it's been many, many moons since I've set this up. So I don't even know what is possible. Like, what are we doing?
Okay, so I think what we can do now, we'll play around and see if stuff breaks, then that's part of the deal. But so you've already created the repo. I think you've also you ran git init and you put the JSON in there, right? So
Yeah.
maybe what we can do is you can create a YAML, a travis.yaml.
Okay. So I'm here in this Sparkles repo. We have this collection JSON file that has tests in it, right? We didn't even write a test. That was already tests pre-written. I've already initted a git. So I have this pointing to /sparkles. And now you want me to create a YAML file?
Yeah. It's more specifically, we're going to call it .travis.yaml so that we can run Travis.
Do you know if YAML is supposed to be YAML or YML?
I think I always forget that. I think it's YAML, no? Let me double check.
I feel like both work, but I just didn't know what was like.
No, you could put YML.
I think both work. I think somebody will give you the stink eye if you do one or the other, and I can't remember which one it is. So I'll just go ahead and create .travis.yaml.
Yeah.
YML. Okay. Looks like VS Code has some release notes here. Thank you. Okay, so here I am. Travis YAML. What goes in here? Should we look at documentation? Do you know how to do this off the top of your head?
We can put language. Let's try a few things.
I have this
like
thing.
You already have. Yeah, we can put language node _JS. So that will run node. And then node, the one under is mainly more specifically like if you want to control the version of node that you want to install. Okay. So I think if we put just node, it should install the latest one.
This one?
Or use the latest one.
This one?
So we put language. Yeah, we'll put both. Put language Node.js.
Without a colon? Colon means array, right?
Yeah.
I don't read YAML.
And then you put, okay, now you're going to you can put colon again. Sorry.
Okay.
There you go. Then you're going to do space and then type node. There you go.
Is it trying to help me autocomplete or is it just plain Node?
I don't. Yeah, here I think you don't want to do autocomplete.
Ah! Okay. All right.
Perfect. So install. I guess we're gonna install Newman. So just
Okay.
npm install Newman.
So this is what we meant earlier. So previously on my local machine, I globally installed Newman using the -g flag, but now we're going to install it in our CI environment. This is the YAML configuration for that Travis uses to like know what dependencies you need to install. Okay, hopefully that works.
And then I think script we could do either if you want to do like Newman, we can check the Newman version that's installed. Just as a quick.
The before script,
I don't think we would need a before script.
just
I think
script
that's just script and then put Newman in I think it's space dash V.
in a dash.
Yeah, you can type so space and then yeah, Newman.
Like this?
Exactly. Yeah, it's just super simple.
Okay. But we still need to do Newman run, don't we?
Yeah. So if you want to run the collection after, we can also do Newman run. My idea was just like a very simple, just to check the version of Newman, and
Okay.
then we can also do Newman run, and then we run the collection because it's in your repo locally. So
Okay.
we should be able to just do Newman the same way we ran it locally.
Matovic is here. Matovic's our first subscriber on this live stream. Hi. Number one. Arlemy says Matovic number one. Okay. So let me save the YAML changes. And you were saying we're just going to see what version it is so that we can just make sure it's working.
Yeah, just a very simple. First, we try to get it to work, and then we can add more commands if you want.
Okay, so here I am. Let me go to the top of this. I'm in Sparkles. Huh? Where's my YAML? Did I not?
Did you save?
I did, but didn't I create it from there? Okay, maybe code just opens in and doesn't save.
Yeah, I think it just opens VS Code.
I forgot what it was called already. Travis.yaml.
Travis, yeah.
This.yaml. So I'm creating it. I don't actually know how to type it in. Should I like Vim this? I don't know how to do that. Okay. It is in Sparkles. What's happening? Should I just copy this to my clipboard and redo it from scratch?
Well, can you do run ls? Or maybe it's hidden.
Oh, is it a hidden file?
I think so.
There it is. You're right. Okay. So we don't have. It is there.
Yeah.
Now what?
Are we sure that it has content? Maybe you can run like less or cat.
There it is.
Perfect. Awesome. Yes, I think now we can push it to GitHub.
Okay, so we already added our bit, and now we have to add. Do we want the JSON file as well? Oops.
Yeah, so you would need it to be able to run on the CI because it needs to be available in the repository. So basically what will happen is on Travis, it'll make a copy of the repository and then run that in the VM.
Everyone's going to see my poor hygiene with Git.
Git is one of those things, if you don't, like I always forget. I have to look up.
I always do -am, and I know you're not supposed to. You're supposed to like do it separately, and I always do this -am. Okay, so now we're good. Theoretically, it's in our GitHub repo. Let's go ahead and check it, refresh this page. There's our Travis config file. Okay, now what?
Now maybe, hopefully, can we check Travis and see, did you already, the integration was already installed for that specific?
I have not set it up for that repo.
No? Okay. So
Matovic's saying no judgments, but I know everyone's judging.
I think you can go in Travis.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Now Then once you've gone in Travis, I think you have to set it up. So this is where I'm not super, I don't recall, like go on your profile and then in settings, I think.
Are there secrets? I don't want to expose my secrets.
Let
Here,
me
let me
actually,
drag this over to a separate screen.
did you create any API keys or anything that you dumped
Okay,
on the?
so all I did was click on my settings. Every step I'm going to have to drag my screen off screen.
I think you'll have to activate your GitHub Apps integration
Okay,
with GitHub.
let me move it over to the side. Oh God, I can't. It's too. I can't drag. Hold on. Okay, so I'm looking at a interstitial screen that says approve and install Travis CI for only. I'm gonna do only select repositories. I'm gonna do Sparkles,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna give it read access to code metadata and pull requests, and read and write access to checks, commit statuses, deployments, and repository hooks. I'm approving and installing. I need to confirm my password. It's has this cute little whoop whoop little truck, and now Sparkles is set up.
Perfect. Now the issue is I think we might have to push something else to like trigger the build because we've already pushed up the Travis and all that stuff. So we can just add any other command. Can you click on build history? I don't think a build should already have run, but
No builds yet.
yeah, there's no builds as of yet. So what we could do is maybe if you go back to on GitHub on your Sparkles.
Should I add a README and like just commit and save it?
Yeah, we can do that. That's perfect. Yeah, just README should be fine.
Oy. This is weird. I usually don't type in here. Am I doing that right? Okay, so I'm just
Yeah,
gonna go ahead and commit new file straight to the master branch.
yeah. I think you'll need to type something. No, create. Oh, guess not.
Did that kick off a build?
Technically it should. If everything,
So I'm
go
going.
back in Travis.
Oh, okay. Here it
There
is.
you go. Perfect. You can click on it actually. Click on the build so people can actually see like the build running
Here?
and how it goes. Yeah, click
Whoa.
on it. Perfect.
Am I looking for the version of Newman ultimately?
Yeah, it should be toward. So what it does, it goes through a life cycle. It'll run like any dependencies it needs for the job to run. But then you see we stated that we want Node.js, all that.
Ooh.
So see node the node version, and now it runs npm install.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dash
Oh, look, five.
V.
Perfect. There you go.
So
And that's it. So
in the config, all we did was very simply say, here's install this dependency and then run this script. We could go on and on with our script if we wanted to, but here's those steps. Once you kick off the build, and the build was kicked off when we just committed a change.
yeah.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah, maybe what we can do is do the Newman run this time.
Okay.
I think your repo has your
JSON file?
collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we could just do the same thing you ran locally. We
Okay.
can try that and see if it works.
So here there's this, I'm just looking at the docs here, but it's going to be slightly different because we don't have node modules in this example repo. So what we want to do is what? Newman run JSON?
Yeah. So Newman run whatever the under script. We'll just add another
So
command.
let me just copy and paste because I don't know the syntax for that. Do you think it looks like this with this backslash?
Oh, that's where hopefully we'll see if it breaks or not. I think
Okay.
it should work,
If
but this
anyone
is
knows the
where
syntax for that, please let us know. And do I need to put it in an array?
yeah, you'll need to do the same thing you did under yeah, exactly. There you go. And then you put another perfect.
Do you think that's going to work?
I'm crossing my fingers. Hopefully it does.
Okay, should I
It
save
should
it?
recognize. Yeah.
Oh, I want to see what that
And
output looks like in Travis. So I did that. Now I need to push, right? Or to commit.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we just updated our Travis config. So, oh, see, I did it again. It's muscle memory. Add Newman script to Travis config file. I think it's when, well, okay, when you push, okay, push to the remote. What? What? What?
Oh, because
Jacked it.
you have to pull some from master, right?
Okay,
From,
so do I have to git pull origin master or just git pull? Let's just read. Git
I
pull,
think it
what's dot dot
pull.
dot mean? Oh no, this thing. Can I
It's
just,
probably because you've made changes to. Well,
is it colon WQ? Somebody know how to get right quit?
yeah,
Okay,
there you go.
okay, okay, so git push again?
Yeah, hopefully.
Gosh, I'm the git master. Okay, let's see, let's go back to Travis. Where are you, Travis? Let me
Now you
collapse
check
this
and see
one.
if there's another build.
How do you collapse this?
You click on build history.
Oh, oh,
There you go.
okay, so here it is, this one. Now we're
Can you
waiting.
check on view config
View
just to
config.
double check?
Okay.
Yeah. So you scroll down, it should show. There you
Here's
go.
our
Look,
this
human
thing.
run. Now let's see if it breaks.
Job log. Worker information. Oh gosh, there's so much to scroll through. Okay, so it's doing this stuff. We're going to be looking for Newman-V, and then we're going to be looking for Newman run Postman. What?
It worked.
Checksums matched. I know what that means. This is so exciting. Huh? Huh? Exited with 0,
Oh,
which is.
it worked.
Wait, I thought we had
Oh.
failures.
Yeah, but the command that's for Newman V, right?
No, for this. Oh, you're right.
Oh,
Okay, you're right. Newman V exited with successfully. Let's see
yeah,
what this exits with. Oh,
there,
exited with 1 because we had failures. Yay, look at that.
exactly. There you go.
Gosh, you're a
So,
Travis expert. So wait, how do we see that? Okay. There's a lot of
so now the
stuff going
build
on
failed.
here. Okay. So now we can look at the output. The job log is where we would come look at the CLI output in that ran from Newman, so we can see what failed and potentially fix that. And if we had log statements, it would also run here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Or for example, what someone could do is there's an after failure command. So just like script install, I think there's an after failure. And what you could do is upload the log to like a storage that you have on the cloud somewhere and access the log that way. Or there's a lot of ways of approaching this. So you'd be able to go back and see like, oh, look, we had a failure. These are the logs for the failure, and then make the changes.
Is the after failure a Newman thing or is it a Travis thing?
It's Travis. This is on Travis. So the command exited with 1, which would be considered a failure. So then you would be able to add in the YAML file, like after failure, upload, like
Yeah.
you upload it to a storage somewhere on the cloud, and then you have access to the log that way.
So Travis has, I mean, Travis CI stands for continuous integration, I assume. A lot of rich features around like after failure, reporting, that kind of thing, and just really integrating pretty smoothly. I mean, I didn't know that took no time at all to set up. And then Newman on the Postman side, let me go ahead and close this tab. But Newman has a bunch of like stuff that people really like. There's reporters. So we looked at the CLI reporter, but if you want like HTML, just like a little bit prettier output, I actually like the CLI output. I think it's beautiful as is. But some people like HTML because it's friendlier, or there's external reporter, creating your own custom one. So I think there's a lot of more advanced functionality. We just did the super basics. We didn't even write a single test on our own. We just took Postman Echo's tests.
Yeah, yeah, and also as Anna said, like you can contribute, right? This is open source,
Yeah.
Newman, so
Open
users can
source
contribute.
Newman. Go ahead and
Yeah.
give it a star. Smash that like button. Oh, Arlemy. This is Arlemy's favorite feature, Newman. Yeah. It's a lot of people's favorite feature, I think, because it is open source, it is highly configurable, and it just runs the collections pretty well. And it's
Yeah.
called Newman, and people always have a giggle at the name. Okay, so I think we actually got through. Wow, sorry, that went so smoothly. I don't even know what to say.
Thank you.
So, so how can we keep in touch with you? You'll notice. Let me go ahead and let me show one thing before we close out our office hours. One thing we typically close out with community shoutouts. This is so self-serving. I apologize in advance. Sorry. I have one community shout out, and it's for me. Just kidding. It's not for me, but like my face is in there, so it kind of looks like it is for me. But we have a new video, Postman Interceptor. I should have showed it at the very beginning because this is so neat and would be so cool to demo during this live stream. But we have a brand new video out. If you've heard of the Interceptor before or you don't even know what it is, check it out. It's actually pretty cool. You feel like really cool when you use the Interceptor because you feel like a hacker. Like you need to put the hoodie on and you gotta get the Mountain Dew out to the side. But that's the only shout out I have. So a lot of folks worked on this demo video and it's pretty neat. I'm going to go to side-by-side view right now. But Sabri, do you have any cool community shout outs? You get to engage with the community quite a bit. Do you have anybody or organizations or things you want to shout out?
I didn't think about the shout out. I don't right now, but a shout out to my team, guys, for doing awesome work. And if any of you have any questions or anything, you can reach out to us either via the forum, the support channel, Twitter, any means. We're happy to help. Even through GitHub, we pop by on GitHub and we try to help. If it's even, for example, for a feature request, if there's an existing way of maybe a workaround for the time being or stuff, we try to do our best to help accommodate users. So please don't hesitate to reach out. That's my shout out.
And
I'll think
Sabri,
about a shout out next time too.
that's a completely legitimate shout out because your team actually covers a lot of the community channels. You guys go into Discourse, you guys go into GitHub and Stack Overflow. I've seen folks in there too. So like that's a perfectly legitimate shout out. Oh, look at us. We both gave shout outs to ourselves basically this week.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Awesome.
right. Well, that's all we have for you for this office hours. So make sure you stop by next month. And we do have a special live stream this Thursday. It's focused around, I think Hannah Neal, who stopped by this stream, is going to be interviewing one of our API evangelists, Kin Lane. And we're going to be talking about US election data. So don't know if you knew this, but the United States, is going through an election soon. And so there's a lot of data around that. How can you dig in, get your hands dirty, and really answer your own questions using API data? So stick around for Thursday, and that's all we have for you. Bye, Sabri.
Awesome. Goodbye. Thank you for having me. Have
Thanks
a
for
great day.
stopping by. Bye.
Bye.